Alright, I did it. Kubalava Dujin, and Dujin du Chabrachan Chick, Dusan Chagore, San Yuchimende, Legulia Page, that Legunima, Direyang, and Chicken Zambulia, Pigor, Pig Dusin the Chagore. That is Dujin Carrelana, the Niki Peva, the Dujin Ziwa, the Carrelana, San Yuchimende, and Zambulia Pay, and pay the San Yuchimendigi, and the chick. Truvigi Dunga say that Digi Tumela and the chick show so that Pemba Bashi Truba Inza, Dionet and the must be Tanga Simja Tamji Dunga Drea and Digi Truvia the Muse or Tisan Di Trualia Tablam Tienche, Gedina, San Yuchim Digi, and the took Sevi Tonanzuli, Ditingio by Inzada, San Yuchim de Ryan the symbol in the pair during answer, and the Niki Lamden and Page Anzolia Cope or Rason and Pegada, the names that the Dushin Kabachin Zigorwa.
Good evening. So today is the descent from the heaven of the 33, one of the great festival days of the Buddhist calendar. And why is it one of the festival days? Well, it's when Buddha returned to the world of humans. And why did he do so? In order to teach the Buddha Dharma, in order to teach the complete and unmistaken path by which sentient beings could train their mind and become pure and perfect just like him. That motivation of his is the same motivation that we need to cultivate within ourselves. And just like he had been training for so long in order to achieve the goal of enlightenment, and having done so, then fulfilled his promise to benefit beings, we too should develop a similar motivation and strive to become a Buddha for the sake of others, and have that as our guiding lamp, our guiding light in all our activities. And that on such an auspicious day, we have the opportunity to hear about this complete and unmistaken path that leads to lasting, stable happiness. Is something of great fortune. And this has come about independent on the causes we have accumulated.
탑람조 제 가르친 로를 생각하는 중에 샘 교화다지 샘이 토네 아니 지금 검접제 아니 아주게 삼비 토네 삼방 안바리 되자 공로가 녀모비리 탐제마 빵 되네 계위자와 아니 샬레 펜바다 잠바다 저와 니제 아니 파신 중에 냠렌디 바 냠렌제 샘베디 디야 이야기 따제 아니야 냠렌제 제고레 디제바이나 아니 산조고마 토투리에세제 tablam denegi donalia songxiabadi da denegi ane jik yamlenji de rimbadi pha chu du che nyang zu ba sik nyung chi le donda chasang cha de yamlenji rimbadi do chen lama chöpa sen lama gi lama da sangye idam lama idam sangye song wo yeme de dai yue tuan nyang a zu ge ane yamlenji rimbadi ane lama chöpa se de an diring an zu din ma do chen ne chin yu xue che ge ro wa ge sin ko tin ma ro wa da.
What was this unmistaken and complete method that Buddha Shakyamuni taught? Well, in brief, it was first identifying our suffering, thereafter the causes, and then that such suffering or those causes of suffering could be eradicated through transforming our mind. The practice of the Buddha Dharma, in brief, means to transform our mind. Then what does it mean to transform our mind? It means, having identified what are virtuous minds, these need to be cultivated. And having identified what are the afflicted minds, the causes of all suffering and pain, these are to be eradicated. So afflictions such as anger, pride, jealousy are to be identified and eradicated through the application of antidotes. And the virtuous minds, such as love, compassion, and the wisdom, understanding, reality, These need to be identified and cultivated. And not only should these be this process be studied, and it needs to be applied in meditation. And not only does it need to be studied and applied in meditation, but the whole purpose of engaging in mental transformation is to ensure that at all times, both in and out of meditation, when we're engaging with others, we are engaging with others under the influence of these virtuous minds, and ensuring that the afflicted minds don't influence us or turn us away from being of true benefit to others. So that is the meaning of in brief, of the path that the Buddha presented. And here in the text that we started to look at a little more than a month ago, the practice of Lama Chöpa or Guru Puja, the entire meaning of the Buddha Dharma, of Sutra and Tantra, is presented here in a brief format in terms of how to transform our mind through eradicating the afflicted minds and cultivating, strengthening virtuous minds.
ane chigi cha tse Chopa Puja tenegi nga sosa Tibetan cheba la ya ane yu di kanis ko se soshin se de singa zo ane soshin se tabya de soshin ma sa tabta de ma she tene ane soshin ma sa tabta ne ane de la ane yeshe ba den jen da je yeshe ba shu ba shu da de kesin de shu sa ba je.
Thus far, we started with the preliminary of the practice, which is about which virtuous minds to cultivate. And then, engaging in this practice, having cultivated these virtuous minds, one generates or visualizes the merit field before one, the field of holy beings to whom one is going to engage in the practice and to accumulate vast stores of merit so as to aid or empower the cultivation of ever more wholesome minds. And then last week, we looked at the invocation part of the practice, where one invokes the wisdom beings who come and abide in the Samaya beings.
ane gewa la jiso iran jeba, ane gari dene chuju kulo kuro che esno sowa deba, chuju kulo kuro kuruwa sikore, dene nyangale medawa, ane shuksu sowa zayade, ane nyangale medawa sowa deba sikore, dene yang gewa, nga rangi gewa dike semja tamche ki duandaliya, ngowa deba, ngowa sede, o dine ki duin, deda nga zuke, 초신 사답 초신이 되려야 하는 것도 두치네 안 두친 야나 든유고 있는 소사 집자지 하세 제고야 되지 숨거든.
Where we are in the practice is we visualize the merit field before us and invoke the wisdom beings, and now we engage in the practice of accumulating and purifying through the technique of the 7 limbs. In the 7 limbs, we here on page 4, we see the first is that of prostrations. Page 5, we see the second of offerings, and thereafter follow the remaining 5 limbs of confession, rejoicing, requesting for the Dharma to continue to be taught, requesting for the beings of the merit field to remain with us, to not abide in nirvana, and lastly, the limb of dedication, which is where we dedicate the merit so that all beings, without exception, attain enlightenment.
We're going
to start then with the first of the 7 limbs, that of prostrations.
Deshi satabshi biyo choshin dike rangi lama dang. Da soji chasang, la chasang, bine ki dile rangi lama jerimuchi namba, jerimuchi gomdiyorwa, andile. Digi da kor la chasang, da ngo ngō lāmi ki nāmba dūshō pāru chāgō rā, nāmba lāma, ngō lāma yīmbā lā, lāmi ki nāmba dūshī na chāsāng lā, nāmba mīrā dūshō pāru chāgō rā, chāsā ngō lāma tā ngō jīpa chāgō rā. Tēnī zā tā ngā tū chāsī, kār chāsī kō sā, tēnī ki tsōshīng lā tī tā ki kūsūng tūsūng ki yuandian zhēn na tēlā tēpā tsīchī tū jē. Anē tēnī ki lāma 디게 라리아 최송제 라리아 디기주야 동아시아리아 판도 제바 인자 델리아 게딘 제수제 메 구바제 데니기나 라메기 다고 초신 디기 구송도수 연된제 라리아 진치모 게디지모 게딘 덴베 코니 구바제제네 아니 데네지나 하는 거죠 대책되기 마 되는지한테 당 연보지 당주 두시네 양쪽에 삼다에다 같이 차세와세디 디삼다 그 구송투 라미 구송투서 연된다 라라 게딘 재미 권에 안에 라미 연된 디나마지 얘기야 톱나 삼제 뭐바지야디 당아주 다디디 디시고다 차세와디 시고 돈다니 보디레다.
As I mentioned in the introduction, the meaning of practicing Buddhism means to transform our mind. So mind is of essential importance. So here, the outset of engaging in the first of the seven limbs, that of prostration, what should one's mental attitude be? Well, we have visualized our Lama before us in the aspect of Lama Chöpa. And in fact, all these beings are visualized around Lama Chöpa, we recognize are of the same essence as our Lama. Thereafter, we've already called to mind the great qualities of our Lama's body, speech, and mind, and thereby we've recalled his tremendous kindness and benefit that he brings to sentient beings. Now with this attitude manifests within us, the attitude of recognition of the kindness and benefits that our Lama and all his manifestations brings to sentient beings, we then have the appropriate mental attitude to engage in prostrations. And just to say as an aside, this term prostration can be translated in many ways. Can be to show respect, to pay homage or salutation or reverence. So there are many ways to express this word prostration.
나 차세와 딜랑한저 류기 차다 나기 차다 이기 차 세중고로와 내자 나 저기 데니기 초시되기 구송 투송 연된제 안델야랑리 진치모베 기된 지수 템베고네 류기고네 아주에 양랑아 살로 투시 마 차세베네 차세와 류기 차세로와 되는 나네 안에 직 데니기 되한 된바데라 나기 차세로 이유고네다 구송 투기 연된 템비토네 안델레 데바 제치도 제바이나 이기 차세로 되는 저기 도시네 류가 이수미 차세 지시로와
What I've just explained in terms of the mental attitude that one should have, having recognized the great kindness and benefit that the Lama brings, and having this actually arisen in our minds, so in an emotive sense, that mental attitude now within one is the mental attitude of mental prostration. So here maybe we would say mental salutation or homage to our Lama, because prostration or homage is offered with body, speech, and mind. So that mental attitude is the way homage would be offered mentally. It's also offered verbally through the recitation of verses such as these, and it's offered physically through either joining one's palms together or performing the physical prostration. So in this way, prostration or homage is paid with body, speech, and mind.
나가 거네 대바 된 이유권에 안지 구성도 유연된 전바다 그든 지수tembe도 진의 대바 지수 삼다도 롱아 예수미의 자념도 주고 그러봐 그래서다 저게 넘기면서 초프 지게 된디갑을 바직 당을 할 된 거로 대바시 시티파 대바제 되네 양세의 년보 당년보 당 디 캐버라 카리어스네 배나가 저기 뒤로와 시에로 따제 시에로 직변 직 the Shegi Tiktipa, do Sinipa, Dang, Dang, to died, Manzo Sheen can't do Carros and Semlia, Dang Galala, Chida, and Dundadi in here, Bene, Manzo Sheta, Shegi, Tikti, Dundadi, Ben Chick, Shanla, Chick Dube, the Yahweh Sigro China, Manzo did the Galala, or Numbula, so Galala Lea Chida. And 지기 셰디 당바 당제 당디라 념도 식디 양 지교육이 남바로 쇼로 교보스네 강아 유교다 근데 동아 교육이 남비기 셰다 여러 시식 망고다 여러 와 셰다도 진네 데니기 셰다도 내가 줄이네 셈레 아지 지기한 데니기 셰다 식디니 된다디게 바 시식도 고연이야 셈레야 교나라 인제 삼비게 교나라 제 용거로 봐디 아주 시에다에도 가실래 제위 돈에 시에다에 결혼 인지부도 결혼 야부도 시다여로 봐. 가까브레래 아니 강하게 내수 시에제 콘솔레디 강하도 강하 되니 두세비 식디네 다지 시에다여로 신님부다여로 봐. 디시에도 다에도 간에 셈량도 시행량아도 밀이야 초월마선 초화가리도 와. 제위 돈에 시에다데 지르 아주는 가라라시야지다. 아니 지게 네 지금 안지야지 강아이 데니게 시직 따지 데네 제위 가서 시행보라 따위도 가 야셈리아 초나리아 네지 닌제 셈베다 데니게 명아즈리아 강아 섬도 솔리아 미슈 되야라서 받아 신이게 만주 데니 용거로 와 온디나시 덴마 지직마 된제 상지게 랑게 초징에 람바디게리아 되베게 라미고 송투순 연내지 바제 당님부 당도 땅에도 갑리아 한 라말리아 Lama Deva Rawame, but Deva shoot Deva Ram Yeda, and Ching Lamigo getting just Lamaji, Dinaji, Lami, and then Deta Bojang, Topna, somebody let to go, the nigger egg, Jidan cotton 60 but Domache, down the Yimbu, at Yumzendirwa.
The practice of Lama Chöpa, we twice a month we do together as a community, and we together recite these verses. We recite these verses with a particular melody. The purpose of there being a melody is because it adds to, when we combine both the meaning of the words together with the melody, it adds to the eloquence or the beauty of what is being said. So, for example, when one is listening to irregular songs, sometimes these songs are about love stories, others they're about problems that the singer is describing. And these different types of songs will have a different emotional impact on the person listening. So one will have some experience of this. A love song makes you feel quite different from a person singing about their difficulties in their life. So we see here a combination of the impact that the combination of a beautiful harmony as well as the meaning of the words has on the listener. So here as the reciter and the listener, when these words of these verses are serving as an aid for us to further recall the great qualities of our Lama's body, speech and mind, and therefore through the power of our trust or faith in our Lama, as well as the combination of the beautiful melody, this has a powerful impact on our mind. And sometimes, at various parts, the tune or the melody is very slow. And the purpose of the slow melody there is to give the meditators an opportunity to reflect in more detail on the meaning of the words. But if one is already quite skilled in meditation, then at times like this, one will already be able to rapidly call to meaning and won't actually need that extra space of time to recall the meaning because of one's familiarity through study and meditation. It will rapidly come to mind. But the purpose of the slower melody is to give one more time to reflect.
Lamiki gave Shin Kusung to Sum Yundian Tenche, Della Deba Tsidu Komiachi, Roa. Then Lama de Ranli, Dinchimo, getting Chisu Temple, Lama Guiba Comia, Chesa, and Digomia Gomia Dinga, the Kiwi Shin comes to the Diroa, Kiwi Shin comes to, and Dinashin that Delia and Charts Kiwi Shin Gikus, Lamiti, Kusung to Yundian Temple, Della Deba, and the Niki. And getting Jesu temple going to Gubi Tsuyi and Chasawa, say the Dick Lamdumki, Yamnachita, that Jiba Chayongdua.
The approach that the Lama Chöpa Puja takes is the same as what you'll be familiar with from your Lamaram studies. In the section or the chapter on how to rely on one's spiritual teacher, it presents the qualities of the Lama's body, speech, and mind, and thereafter comes the section on recalling the tremendous kindness and benefit that the Lama brings to ourselves and others. So those two aspects, or the qualities of the Lama's body, speech, and mind, as well as the recollection of the kindness and benefit from the Lama, these are included here. And one then, knowing this, at this point, should generate these in one's mind. Now we come to the first verse tonight, the 18th verse. Your compassion grants even the sphere of great bliss, the supreme state of the three kayas in an instant. Guru with a jewel-like body, Vajra holder, at your lotus feet I prostrate.
Lama Christian Sumdegi Lama, the Soshin Sat Tapshebi, Soshin Lama, Kuran Sosio Gangsen, Kuran Lama, Lami Tuje, Gajin La Dene, or the Lami Tuje, Gangi Tuje, the Gang said, Gajin Sumdegi Lama, Soshin Sat Lama, Karangi Tuje, La Dene, Tuze, Wanging Anzolia, and the Jig, Taradunga, Sanje, Sai Goba to be Lam, Yamnche, Tablam Demba, Della Dene, and then Jugi, Yamnche, the Karinguresene, Deva Chimbi, in Kusongo Vacho and Kichila, said, and the Casa, and Dongbanya, Devachmele, because same Chasho, the Dongbanya Dobigi, Dongbanya Don, the Tarjibishi Chamber, the Ishichuku. The Ishichuku Digi, and the Ishichuku Digi and the Giadu, Numo Bashadan Baba, Bangpe, Bangba, and then more new ing said, more new. The Negi, and Digula Tembegeda, Sanji Kopati, and Dela Kusum, Sora Kusum, more new goda, Casa Chogoda, and the Chogoche, and Sugo Longos, Casa Jua, Chogoche, Long Jusum Sora, Chogo Longo Jus, Kusum Kovan. Chesa deni yu kusum yu gopan tobar tablam denshebadi deni ge tobe tablam topjadi kusum yu gopan san yu gopadi ndihan tobe tablam di 균리고 마고바 아니 체지 깨지라 세대 체지 나려 안 산jo고 봐 톱티비게 알람 직 절세바드니 안절야 람템바디 뱀마스 깨진 쳔보레 예서 그러다 대화침비시 인세대 산예기 이슈고 시고다 대화치고 대화침보스나 한기에 대화 동방 용어숨도 되베 이시 주고 탈침바 이시 주고 디 탈침비 이슈고 디기 통용도 안에 뭐니 디 인세대 다 인세들 대화침비 유 동방이라 제주는 양바시비 인 되는게 이시 주고시 근데 대 뭐니고 이시 주고 뭐니고 리고들라 인세대 되는게 안에 디 귤레팀베 간사디다 안에 간사 가소레 산제 수구디 샤거와 제산디 인자 데리아 구숨고 봐 저기하세요 되는게 산제 고번 구숨기 최고 롱고 쭈고 뭐 숨모 토비게 탑람디 대야 탑람디야 아니 세직나래 깨직라 유니보 마고 배 로모 세직나래 미세직나래 톱투베게 탑람디 저런게 간술래 쏠자바 간술 뜀바레스 뜀고레스 라미게 연된디니게 뜀비게 라마코로는 연된디네 여바디 디 여바디 간술이야 디 토비에게 탑람리야 간술도 뜀고레스.
Looking at the first two lines, your compassion grants even the sphere of great bliss, the supreme state of the three kayas in an instant. I think, yeah. So you can, if you want to, you can add the word great to bliss because it's there in the Tibetan. So the meaning, the commentary then, the first word your refers here to the one's lama to whom one is engaging in this practice. We visualize our lama in the aspect of Lama Tsongkhapa. We've recognized all the other beings are of the same essence or indivisible essence from our lama. So that is to whom this verse is being these verses are being offered. So that's the meaning of the word your. Then his compassion, your compassion, grants or bestows even the sphere of great bliss. The sphere of great bliss, then we can understand that to mean the wisdom truth body, the ultimate Dharmakaya. So it's through the compassion. So we have the word grants, which is fine, or it could be through or bestows. It's the compassion of the Lama that bestows or grants to us the sphere of great bliss, or the Dharmakaya. And continues then in the next line, the supreme state of the three kayas, with the three kayas being the Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, and Dharmakaya. In an instant, and in an instant, as the English says, means immediately, with no more than a single moment. So the Tibetan literally is a single moment. So that's the meaning then of the first two lines.
dunga se tingi dewa tobya de ngāzu dujegi deba di karasana ta kedi ina dewa ne dewa mado dunga namya meba tingi dewa di kuborwa 지산 di nanda tobja na tarba da tamje kimbe na gopa na ta tobja tartuba de sanje gopa de yecho sanje gopa se de sanje se de kan chi yore labne ta bangja nyomo be rikchasa bangsa bang gyön tamje dan jawe bangba bangbe yunde de tenba adene kimbe yunde 최 담지 온숨도 도바 탈진비 이시 단 마kim바세 가야며 탈진비 이시 대야 되니게 탈진비 이시에서 캠베인데 방법인데 다 되니게 되니 여반자 다 코로나 연된 되니 연데 되니고 꾸델야 안에 롱조서 보고 세도야 안지경 레인나 봐 된지마 하되게마 만 저기마 최순가 롱근나 봐지 된바다 대민비게 사 많이 방아지 미다 안지아지 데넬마 되야리야 양아지 미르빈나 비 죽인나 봐 된지도 신남바데 신이 동아세야다 디기주비에게 탑람 되는 생애리다 상기에서 꾸숨이 다 꾸숨이 알아요 꾸시이 알아기로 이시 주고다 원이고서는 파카가 잡아있나 네 롱고 주고라는 꾸시 차용 그래 최고세 직보제 잘라네 이슈고당 뭐주 뭐니니 dom제들이야 최고스 민직 따바 되는 롱고 주고라는 꾸숨 차용 제가 된디고 꾸숨디 토비에 산이 고마 don다 산이 고마들이야 제가 산이 고마 토비에기 되니기디 토비에 톱자 산이 고마디 만술야 토비 칠도 탑람디베 요고 톱투야기 탑람이 야고 사보시오 징안술야 두스티네 결혼기 만술 남듣는 거래스 디나와 디양 안 결혼기 만술 옆에 제와치세 만술 동아다 디기드 되나 선배 만술 제와치제 결혼을 툭 제외 관계 만술 유두스는 거래서 너나디 숨고 당아주야 제 라미기 야는 아주 뛰어봐서 와다디 결혼 빼면서 되는 만술 직제대 결혼에 제외 만술 두스네 톱자 탈두바 되는 톱이야기 된다려 디양 안 윤리고 막고 남사 세직나라 톱투에게 탑람지 된 거를 빼야 그래 세아지고 와다 돈다디로 와
To further look at the meaning then behind these two lines is that all of us sitting here, engaging in the puja, everything that we do, we are motivated by a wish to attain a state of lasting stable happiness. None of us want to experience even the slightest of problem or difficulty. And amongst the various forms of happiness one can achieve, the state of Buddhahood, the lasting, stable happiness of Buddhahood, is the highest form of happiness. And it's through relying on the faultless guidance of our lamas that we will achieve such a state. The state of Buddhahood, the state which is marked by the aspects of where all faults on the mind have been completely eradicated. The faults, together with their seeds and even their stains, completely eradicated, so not even a trace remains. And together with this, all good qualities have not only been developed, but they've been developed to the point of perfection or completion. The attainment of such a state, the state of Buddhahood, is achieved through relying on our Lama. And when it's achieved by the attainment of Buddhahood, which is marked by the attainment of the 2 or 3 or 4 bodies of a Buddha. So there's not a difference in terms if the bodies are called 2 or 3 or 4, depends just on how one classifies. So the text here specifically says the 3 kayas, or the 3 bodies. And the 3 bodies then will refer to the Dharmakaya, which is which has 2 divisions, but maybe let's start the other way. So the 3 bodies of the Buddha start first with the Dharmakaya, or the Emanation Body, and this is a body that is visible to ordinary human beings. Then there's also the second body, that of the Sambhogakaya, and that is the enjoyment body. And this is the body of a Buddha that is visible to very highly realized beings, as well as to certain levels of gods and deities. It's a form that looks like a deity, as we see pictured as a deity. That's a Sambhogakaya, or enjoyment body. So there's the 2, and then the third is the Dharmakaya, with the wisdom, or the truth body, in English, the truth body. And so that's the 3 bodies: the emanation body, the enjoyment body, and the truth body. The truth body, though, has 2 divisions: the wisdom truth body and the nature truth body. The wisdom truth body is the realization of emptiness of the Buddha, and the nature truth body is the empty nature of the Buddha's mind. So those then are the 3, or sometimes called 4 bodies of a Buddha. And these are attained with the achievement of Buddhahood, and this itself is achieved through us as students, relying on the faultless presentation of our Lama, who guides us in the most appropriate of ways due to the power of his compassion for suffering beings such as ourselves.
And Jinanda Dordina Sanji Govansia di Manzulia Toyagi Dondala, Manzu Tobi Chirdu, and Chorangi, Peching, Manzu Toyagi, Lamyam Chia, Sechinalia, Top Toyagi Dondalia, and Chorangi Manzulia, Lamden Chut, Tablam Yamnesia, now at Be Masayapuris, Dinadia, Chorangi, and Zinganzulia, Zewachita, and Jinawa, that do China, Chi. The
meaning, in brief, that it can easily be held in mind whilst reciting these lines, is that due to the power of your compassion, you have the capacity to lead us to the attainment of the state of Buddhahood in an instant.
Lama Rinchin Tabiku said, Chisa Lama Choron, Rinpoche Najiri, Rinpoche Tabiku, Rinpoche Tabu Sida. Chisa Lama Choro, Rinpoche Naji, Rinpoche said, and the Jitin Delia, Rinpoche Lede Serata, Muida, then Dorje Palarita, then Muitiki, Yovaina, that is so Yovaina, Anzulia Carsos and Anzu, Koegi, Chela, Anshasa, Twinkian Campania, Modrania, Sajania, Pa Champion Drawer. And the Chingan the Nana, the Menjucia, Chazan, and Shelia Robertiana, Jetuyegi, Chicken Yungrua, the Yovena. They 델레냐 하바 다스문이라네 상기 라마 결혼기 만줄야 제상 안주기 되니게 원에 누가세다 디기 제상 되니게 매나 좀 벤저로 매나 사야 동아 강아 태야 안지 강비에 강아 되서에 강아 파수 조야에 강아 면주집이 면주지 조선다이마 강아 망고 지어와 제사 림보치 직다 되니게 여반 강아 지수셔서 세제네 세도 디 강아 세나 디수 도쇼 디기 차거와 제사 디 나시 다 되니게 투바나 림보치 나시 라마 결혼기 안줄야 삼모 되니시 땅고로 곰 되네 냠는 되네 장고에서 직변에 베네 거소래 잠바 공부를 자와 공부를 지기다 안 되니기 지기 진배 냠는 추리냐는 쇠배 냠는 되네 띵에 좀 곰야 또세 냠는 지나디 마 림바데 띵어도 되네 인자등 안주기 림바데 라는 따와라 되네 안주기 나줄야 체들이네 소수기 공로다 되자 공로는 묘모바시에 소소 심퇴의 디기요야 아니 현래이네 안지 디기 줍투야 안디 디기 안제와 침만이네 타다미 고본 톱투야 안디 맞아 사지 고본 맞아 냠네지도 사지 고본 톱투야 탑람 디니스테 바디니게 제사 마운술레 내갑기당 타르두에 대와 디기 줍여 차사데 라마 결혼한테네 줍투고도 제사 결혼 배 마세 림보치 나신 그린 첨보레 세디디 더 그린 제수 제베토네 안도치네 고바시 90제 예 제거를 저 라마린지 라마린지 세야 돼 라마린지 따보 세야 되리다 네 라마린지 다 따비고 dorje se adi chashana yamdishana lama denige ku lama kyoronge ku denige chike pe tembu so dorje ku migyo tembu denige lama denige dorje naje.
Starting to look at the last two lines, Guru with a jewel-like body, Vajra hold there, at your lotus feet, I prostrate. The first, looking at the word jewel, so there are different words in Tibetan that can be translated as jewel. This particular Tibetan word here literally means precious. So bear that in mind with the explanation, but jewel is correct though. So firstly, just like in the life of ordinary beings, one requires at least a minimal level of material resources, otherwise one will suffer. If one is completely bereft of material resources, one will struggle to feed oneself and care for those that one is responsible for. One will not be able to go to hospital or attain an education. So in our world, at least a basic level of material resources is required in order to achieve happiness. And that is the ordinary meaning of a word such as jewel. If we think of diamonds and gold, here they would represent having the requirement, having a sufficient material wealth so that one could lead a happy life. So on the ordinary mundane level, we can think of jewels as being representing that. In our Dharma context, jewels, though, don't refer to material wealth, but to the sources of true happiness. Consciousnesses, minds such as love, compassion, and wisdom, those are the jewels of real value. The jewels of ordinary value are things like gold, silver, and diamonds. But the actual jewels are the good qualities such as love, compassion, and wisdom. And it's through an abundance of these jewels that the impoverishment or the source of suffering of beings, the afflicted minds, is eradicated. In the ordinary world, the source of suffering, one would say, well, it's poverty. But from the ultimate or the supreme perspective, the source of suffering are our afflicted minds, their seeds and their imprints. Minds such as attachment, pride, jealousy, and so forth. And so jewels of love, compassion, and wisdom that serve to suppress and eventually eradicate them. Furthermore, through training under the guidance of our Lama, we will initially achieve temporary happiness, calm, stable, subdued mind, a mind that is not disturbed by worldly suffering or disturbed by worldly happiness, but a calm and stable mind that's focused on achieving lasting happiness, the state of Buddhahood. So here, one calls calls to mind these great qualities, or the great kindness of our Lama, who bestows the capacity on us, in other words, gives us the ability to generate these jewels within us, Furthermore, looking a little bit more at this line, Guru with a jewel-like body, Vajra holder, at your lotus feet I prostrate. The jewel-like body is, the Tibetan links the word Vajra directly with body, and this shows the great stability of our Lama. His qualities his qualities are stable due to the attainment of the perfected state of enlightenment. With that in mind, kindness, the reflection of the kindness and the great benefits that our Lama brings into our life, this arises ever more powerfully within us.
Lama tela tine nga zui digi chup tuwa za lama tine rinpoche nashi res. Jisa da serangui sang yuwa da jidang da dibi nga zu rinpoche da rinpoche rik pedu ya siya da ane jik rinpoche nobu sambel da siya da dine mangbo shigor da nga zui tongshu zu yuwa dila da rinpoche tiyan zamli nal tongshu zu yuwa dila siya da ngui da dine ki dorje pala da dāng nāmbi ngā bechi dā ngui tiki rinpoche chādi yorwa chāsān deso la tēne ngā rō tiki dunga sēyā dā tiki chūp tū yorwa nāshin chāsān lāma kyorōng rinpoche nāshi rē chāsān lāma kyorōng la tēne ngā rō liā lāma kyorōng ki la tēne ngā rō ki nyamnan chīyā rā tēla tēne ngā rō tiki chūp yā dunga sēyā nē gāp tāng thār tūki anī topchā tiki chūp tū yā di chāgidu tēzā lāma kyorōng nā rinpoche nāshi yīns chāsān dā lāma rinpoche nāshi chīdā lāma tiki kū tiki nā gyuwa mē bā shiān liā 데 기직 감나 매발 최 템페 되니게 구교와 돌제다고 될이야 샵기 빼모신다 마주 류빈안에 마셔디 샵차그로와 제상 미 아니 샵기 빼모마 샵기 빼모선 샵시고 될이야 아니 고 투제네 차세기 차살로 세대 차살로 세대 네 유뉴몬바되게 파되니게 세제 안 라미 구송 투수 연된 여바디나시지 dik lami temba nashin gi yende de nge lamsang nge kyulya an topja kusum yo goba de ji kusum yo goba sa jorwa de goba de gyogo tor sho sa jor de negi tisigor da dandala.
Throughout the Dharma, certainly this text, words that have a particular meaning in our ordinary life are used because of the meaning that immediately they invoke with us, and behind this, though, is a deeper symbolism. So, for example, the term a jewel here, and for the reason that I just presented in the previous segment, jewels we know, especially an abundance of them, they bring happiness to people. And the happiness, though, and the jewels and the happiness that is being referred to or symbolized here is the lasting happiness of Buddhahood that is achieved through the jewel-like qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, and so forth. Here, then, we're recognizing that in dependence on the unmistaken guidance motivated by love and compassion from our Lama, we will develop these jewels within ourselves, these jewels of love, compassion, and wisdom, and so forth, within ourselves. And furthermore, relating to the Guru with a jewel-like body, Vajra holder. So the meaning here of Vajra holder then is to reference the unchanging stability of our Lama in terms of the qualities that he has attained. And then lastly, the verse ends with, "At your lotus feet I prostrate." One is, in this verse, has recalled the tremendous qualities of our Lama and the benefit he brings into our life. And now, with a sense of deep reverence, we offer homage or salutation, prostrating at his feet, with the aspiration that we, through this virtue, immediately, in an instant, develop the exact same qualities that abide stably, unchangingly, Vajra-like, within our Lama.
Rabjam Gyawa Kunye Ishini, Gadul Chirian Chewe Tabkesho, Murme Zimbe Gargan non Ruba, Gemwan Dembeshala Chasalose.
Now to the 19th verse. You are the wisdom knowledge of all infinite conquerors, appearing in any way that subdues. With supreme skillful means, you manifest as the saffron-robed monk. I prostrate at your feet, holy refuge protector.
Na Rabjam Gyawa Kunye Ishini Sede, Na Rabjam Sede, Chochu Sing Rabjam Seoda, Singbe, Mangur Wadabetas, Chochu, Dangan Jigda. Chiki Sing Rabjam Sede, the Tembulinda, and Namgi, Garso, Garso Manguyo Wadinajin, Dinigi, Cho, Dian and the Chochu, Chochuna Shubigi, Dini Sing Rabjam, Yachambona Shubeda Delia, Sing Relia de Sanyena, Jansim Sanye bottom of a shooter water. Chesa Chochu, Choch Rabjam Gyawa Kunyi Yishini, Sida, then the Sojin said that she be ranging around like Lama Tie, and Chochu Sing Rabjan Shubigi, Sanye Tam Jigi Yishi, Shuchen wants to be Tarchimbi Yishi, the Jian, the Ochimbi Ing said Yorwa, the Nigi Yishi de, and then Anzulia, Chiki, Manzugi, Chiki, Dushalia, and Pemper to be Chidu, and Digi number Chasan, San Choju, Sanye Tamjing, Yishi, Yongo, Chidu Dushe, Yang Lamig, good number Shawachi, or that Rabjan Yawa Yishi. Ishini, Gadul Jirian Chebe, Gadul Jirian Charvi Sedu, Kamda, Semje Kamda, Duje Kamda, Mobile, Mobile Tumbigi, and Good Nabata, Maradushin, Dunje, and Semjingi, Jotinchiga Pebare, Pigu, Nangor Ejerida. Ziganiba Characha, Gadul Jirian Charva, Char said.
Looking at the first two lines, you are the wisdom knowledge of all infinite conquerors appearing in any way that subdues. First, just to say as an aside, the translator of this text translated what we usually have as exalted wisdom as wisdom knowledge. So wherever you see the word wisdom knowledge, it's the we normally you'll be more used to this as exalted wisdom, the word yeshi. Okay, so and then again, there's commentary to this. This term infinite, it's a term that's used to invoke the infinite number of galaxies or world systems pervading the universe in which abide a limitless or infinite number of Buddhas. And here, you, our Lama, who we visualized before us in the merit field, you are the wisdom knowledge of all infinite conquerors. In other words, the exalted wisdom, the wisdom truth body of our Lama is exactly the same as that of all the infinite conquerors throughout all the world systems. So here again, we are in these verses of prostration or homage. So one can see the verse is using emotive language to remind us of the tremendous kindness and benefits and qualities of our Lama. Then it continues, appearing in any way that subdues. So here, with you, our Lama, who has all the qualities of the Dharmakaya, we had it before as the sphere of great bliss, all such qualities that abide within you. Due to that, you can appear in any way that subdues. In other words, in any form that meets the individual karmic background, unique spiritual disposition of a being, our Lama, due to having attained the Dharmakaya, can appear before beings in the specific form to be of most benefit.
Chitan chochu shing rabjam na shu du ki sanje tham ji gyawa kunji sanje tham ji gi yeshi mo ji du du ba chi dang yeshi de yeshi mo ji du ba lama choran ta sanje chochu shing rabjam na shu be gyawa sanje kunji yeshi de re se war yeshi de lama se na ngo di re se war ta don da di se war.
I just want to emphasize part of that, the previous commentary, because it doesn't say so explicitly here in our first line. One here is making explicit reference that the exalted wisdom, the wisdom truth body of our Lama, is of the same essence as infinite conquerors, in other words, that of every Buddha throughout all the world systems.
Duja kamna meba naso pa yoba za penangan midilina kala pe jingamol garandilia kala ngam jitena gawu ngurma gyumor tena gawu chak gawu jig marwa yan kama kala gyursu gyumoro joro chena dela gawu yeda ngamol gawu mendelia ji gyumo di jo yoba tena ko gawu ngurma da ngamir tena gawu marwa dinashi azulya kam나 두지래 kam나 매바 나서바 지금 거래스. 지상 두지 kam나 매바 나서바 여반자 코로나를 예 최대기야. 코로나 kam나 매바의 튠바디 셰바는 코로나 판도 연구래스. 지상 디 판도 디 kam나 최대야. 아니 지금 거래스. 대선발에 하는 꾸디래야. 나중에 미나 미기 남바진게 미디게나 통두고마도 회의 남바진은 가서 하디게 통두고마도 디나시 가시기 아니 네 코로나야 아니 지금 남바 된 거야. 가실에 미 남바 된 거야. 가실에 아직 미네 안 저기 나창 나베게 남바 돼야. 가시게 잡중근 남바 돼야. 가시게 아직 비미게 남바 돼야. 가시기 내 깨비 남바 돼. 가리 남바다 말아 된지 코로나야 데니게 돈에 판도가 가르쳐도 콜 배시체다 판도가 가르 연구도 집에게 데니게 남바 된지네 강도지리야 체비게 남바 감나 매버도 튠비게 판도다 딘비 튠비게 데니게 반남 능거 남바 된지 아니 피고래 탑게 줘서도 두시에 감나 매버 두시엘야 최소 두시엘야 아니 동아세는 디기 주에게 탑라 캐바 초도 교바드레스 라마 켜나 디니기 초도 교바레샤 세데 어두신 라메기다 연된 주거와.
Translation is fine. Just the Tibetan has what we have in this. The second line of the Tibetan is the line 2 of English and the first half of the third line in English. So that's how Genla's commenting. So I'll read them together. You are the wisdom knowledge of all infinite conquerors, appearing in any way that subdues with skillful means, or supreme skillful means. So just like if we know someone likes sweet food, it would be very strange to offer them food that is, say, sour or bitter. And likewise, if we know someone who cannot eat sweets, perhaps a diabetic, it would be very inappropriate to offer them sweet food. Similarly, our Lama, with his Dharmakaya wisdom, appears in any form that is most suitable to sentient beings. He appears in the form that is ideally suited to each being's individual karmic background and individual spiritual disposition. And therefore, sometimes before certain beings, our Lama will appear as a god. Sometimes as a human, sometimes as female, sometimes as male, sometimes ordained, sometimes non-ordained. What guides how he manifests is how he can best benefit each being.
데니게 라마 데니게 최 두자 감나 매버의 튜비 돈에 최 땡야야 안데 지금 남바 땡야다 탑케 초도 교발해야지 라마 데니게 초도 교발해 제자다 물미 진비 갈게 남줘봐 남줘봐 시대다 나절야 당아 중간주기 물미 진비 갈게 남줘봐 시대 다 나절야 라마디 안 제르무체 라마게 도시는 물미simba 잡중인 남바 준 페이지에 데니게 라마 데니게 남바 페바르와 된된제 데니게 물미simbe 남바를 베게 될이야 안에 지게 남바로 바래야지 물미simbe 가게 남로 봐.
That then is the meaning of supreme skillful means. Our Lama, through the power of his exalted wisdom, appears in the ideal form to benefit sentient beings. Then the rest of the third line, you manifest as a saffron-robed monk. Here in this practice, we're visualizing our Lama in the aspect of Geshe Rinpoche. Therefore, he is appearing before us right now as a saffron-robed monk.
Kargi number roba like do Garland and the Chamtabalagora. Murmizimbe Kargi number of us, Garsidua, Kargi number robas and Chamgi Tapia de Garsigua, Chesa, Michigi, Gabrielia, and Chike Cham Duro Kaga Quench Tapia, Yanchi Michi Gabrielia, Michira Chigimbala Gabrielia, or Duro the Chik Quench and the Cham. Che kaga che pa chabya and chiglia and dulo shantaj kuen and delia and jig chabya da and ya she da ya da nyum du shi ni ga ye de ba da and jig chabna de the nigi the michigi number da marathon ko chabya yor ba da she chabya da she da na she da marathon ya re and jig chabdi kable na dulo da marakon number mita manzu da de ji 미지 아대야지 참 참다가 사바지 되어서 야 사바지 되어서 야 사바지 좀 당루와 맞도 이거 미치기 되네기 참 차별이야 넘버 다마라 된 차별다 미치기 넘버 다마라 된 비글 차별이 셰다야로 비네 셰다다네 셰 미라 다야 참다야 참 미라 타야 니네가 주기다 딩한테 통치소요 가서 세투고로 언디나시 라미 오 대참에 오 미치마 되어 말아봐 차자담 차바이나데 시 자담 다외네 미치라지리 가가 통해야 되가서 넘버 가가 통을지네 미치라 차대로와 언디나시 가서 오데 라마디 되니기 최담 중원수도 탈집이 예시 오 넘버디 라마 디레데 이나 가서야 안지 감다 몇벌 때문에 넘버다 말아 된체 되니기 안도시네 냐 가서 두시 안절에 판도 두고 그래 제자들이 장안들이야 당안주의 초신나在接什么钱呢大家我们给那把钱得了呀很多钱的绝不的초신拿了三到下吧我都是我们这边开给那么多吧那的我原点这边过呢对吧的采购了哇
Now, third line, you manifest as a saffron-robed monk. So after the word manifest, there's another word in the Tibetan that isn't here. It's a word for dance, but here perhaps we can understand it better as meaning theater. In that, so what is implied here is, so if we were to insert an English word, maybe we'd say you manifest in the role of a saffron-robed monk, something like that. Because the meaning is that our Lama is now displaying the aspect of being a saffron-robed monk, in that we are visualizing him in the aspect of Geshe Rinpoche before us. But we recognize that as an enlightened being, he will appear in any form that is most appropriate to benefit sentient beings. What guides him is his wisdom and his compassion, and it's only due to his wisdom and compassion he will appear in any role or costume that benefits beings. So just like if we think of theater, sometimes people dance, sometimes people sing, sometimes it's more of a drama, and then various costumes are worn, often by the same actor. In this way we can understand how the enlightened mind manifests in a role to benefit beings precisely in accordance with their disposition and inclination. So understanding that then, we see how in this verse we're praising the qualities of our Lama, in particular here, the quality of being able to act perfectly through supreme skillful means in accordance with the unique karmic backgrounds and individual spiritual dispositions of sentient beings.
감남에 봐도 튠비게 삼반나서 between 아주를 동아세 단 디유주의 탑람 람든 nengo르와 최순고르 람든 nen고르와 제산다 람든 나마 나신 아주 냠는 제바이나 맞아 동알을 저투야다 아니 동알 저투고래 대인자 라마 결혼 안줄이야 안주게 짭프샤 짭담바레스 짭담바시데 짭나네다 짭약쇼들이에서 짭약쇼 대변행 아주 밤에 있는 아주 부글이야 아니 롭종 장야다 아니 그 강아체 송급제데 짭고르와 안디나시 안지게 셈제 디네자 짭들레 디네 용고르데 이네다 상기 다들라메 결혼 짭담바레스 담발랍도 가르스네 뇨모바 바샤나 제바파 델리야 겹구둥아 띵이메 메바스여기도 저기 탑람디 결혼 땜바이자 라마 결혼 문들이 짭담바레스지 짭제 코알리 데네 권 담바레스 권 데네 권 담바르세데 탈바다 템지킴비 고발이야 람된 제시가도 될래 티주고라 티고라스 제산 결혼 권 담바 그거도 톱자나네 탈둑 산지 고반 토야지 토발지고 고반이야 결혼한지 티기 결혼기 먼저 티고래 제산데네 인자 라마 결혼 연된데네도 된자 결혼 먼저 짭담바레 먼저 권 담바레샤 제산데네 인자 라마 결혼 구송도 연된제 구송 결혼 먼저야 그진 야샤바들 그진 지수 tembe고 토네 안 라마 결혼이야 차세기 샤블라 차살로 세드 차살로 라마 결혼기 투교를 연대 여바 나신 안주 라마 냠는 땜바 나신지 안주 냠는 야고치 토벌쇼 사야지 토벌 지기인 사야지 토벌쇼
The verse concludes with, I prostrate at your feet, holy refuge, protector. And the first word in the Tibetan then word is the word refuge. So here, our Lama is our refuge. What is it that makes our Lama our refuge? He is the teacher of the path, and the specific word teacher of the path can be the illuminator of the path, the lamp guiding on the path. That is the role our Lama plays in our life and the life of beings. He is the illuminator, the teacher, the guide on the path, and that if we, as students, follow his training precisely as he presents it, we can be certain that we will achieve his same exalted state. And this is what makes him and his teachings the supreme refuge. The word then we have as holy. Holy is a fine translation, but it also is translated as supreme or highest or excellent. So here we can then understand the word holy as being an excellent refuge, a supreme refuge, and particularly the teachings of our teacher, as well as the teacher himself, we see as the supreme refuge. And here we can understand this. That's for the first two words, refuge, and then holy. Then the next word, that of protector. So the adjective holy also applies to protector. Here, our Lama is playing the role of protector, protecting beings. How so? By being their refuge. And again, how so? By helping them develop the qualities of the Dharma within themselves, because that is what protects beings. So in a sense, he's playing the role of protector is similar to the role parents play, especially to young children, because parents are the protectors for young children. And here our Lama plays the role of protector for all sentient beings. Here we are offering prostration or homage or salutation at the feet of our holy or the supreme, the excellent, the highest refuge protector.
당은 저기 되니기 라미 고송 투수 연대 야 연대주 라마 결혼 되는 연대주야다 아니 연대주베터네 야 대바지주제 아니 될이야 안지게 라미게 장려야 그진 친구인자 그진 친구 슈레스 될이야 아니 그진 지수 tembe거든요 구바제제 아주 도시네 아니 디나신지 결혼 교육에 구송 투수 연대 여바 나신지 안 de topala barshe tamche seje se chase de barshe tamche mewa chache dinashin che sar topal sho seji sigurwa da donda ningbo de dirwa.
This verse then continues. It's the process of giving us an opportunity by reflecting on these words to call to mind the incomparable qualities and kindness that our Lama presents to us. And in this way, we can generate a sincere and deep-felt respect and faith within him. And the purpose of this here is to not only accumulate merit, but also for us to eliminate obstacles in our mind stream to the implementation or the following faultlessly of his advice, and thereby attain the same good qualities he has.
Lami in the Jalala Mason TV Nalia, chapter Mango Tangorwa, the Diora, chapter Shu Tan, the New there was Lim Rans, never Mima, there was and new to water. Dinashin the Lamigi, Yunten Pa, Kusun to Yunde Pa, do Yunde Pa, Jane, or the Yunde Pa, to some down Yunde Jane, the Pala. Oh, Talama Yunde, Beya, simply. Devati Ram about Ligor, that was Lami Yunde, and the Jaladi, Yakur, Buddha, or Yunde, Mango Thompson, did Ogana, Chigrago, and some of Yeva Nashi, Chiva, Watangazu, the Lami Yunde Kusun, Yunde Pa, to Chit, some down Yudukabla, or Dangatic Bemas, Yakura, Lamale, Deva Sisi to Ligor. Lamalia Deva Lena, Lamigi, Kana, she been Yaman DDJ or as Lamden Jeja Batilangazuki, Jayagi, Deva Dumushukshabal Ligore, these are Anangazuki, and Lamigi. Kuso to Yundian Jen, Casa Yundian Jue, and Delia Deva Yoga, the Dumjik himself did it.
It's of great importance to recall the qualities of our teacher and the tremendous kindness and benefit that he brings to us. To understand this, we can take an illustration of the impact of that advertising has. So if you see advertising on television, and it's something that appeals to us, immediately the thought will come, I would like that. I'm going to go out and buy it, or save so that I can buy it. And then when one actually does embark on the journey to the shop to buy it, and in the process of buying it, the whole time, one is not merely thinking about the object that one is about to purchase, but one is really thinking of all the qualities of the object, all the reasons why one has to have this, why one needs this. This comes about one's behavior, one's change of behavior, the wish to buy and then the activity of buying it, comes about in dependence on seeing the qualities of something. That is similar to what we are doing here, by intentionally recalling the many good qualities of our Lama and the great benefit that he brings to our life. That serves the purpose to open our heart to him and his teachings and the example that he sets for us. And this is of crucial importance, because in dependence on our opening ourselves to him, his teachings will have an ever more profound impact on us.
Yunden Yabu Yoba, and Jiki Yabu Yubi, Shingbi, Yunden Mabu, Yoba, Yeda Chimpora, Yuna, Detalia, Janga Johan Mangurua, Jang to Yushu Cheligua, Labrayan, Yunden Shara Meva, Denegi, Yunden Maton Vana, that is a little Jana, Shara Pantoyomas and Johan Muchagua, or Dina Petina Jirua.
Similarly, where one has the opportunity to choose a teacher in education, if one knows that a particular teacher has a great reputation for being not only a skilled educator, but highly learned, you can be sure that that teacher's classes will be oversubscribed. Whereas if another teacher hasn't yet developed such a reputation, people are not aware of his qualities, or perhaps these qualities are lacking, his education and skill as a teacher is lacking, there will be many empty seats before that teacher.
Lami Kusun to Yunding Anthony, Jin Chimbo, the Nick Pando Chimbo, Getting Chimbori, some the getting Jisu Jambaina, 되니게 안에 남사랑왕이 배 라말이야 90기로 90비로 그든 친구 아주 미네 아주 미편주의네 라래 그든 친구를 삼바네 미딜리아 파지 아주 90제다 지금 지구제도 용거 라신 리고로 와 거트가로 봐 그래서 미딜리아 라말이야 90단 지구를 봐나 가르리기 말았으네 라말이야 댄셈리기 말와 댄셈당 가자들리기 말와 가브리엘 안주변에 지게 라마 chöpa 수수기 아티서 연대 시고 중국에서 라말이야 지게 데네케리 지스된 비기 지고 시라 말레바나 아달라마나니 지바당 라멘 딩알레데 연대 사과시라 요말선 비게 댄셈리에게 데 용시기로와 데 용시기로와 데네자 라말이야 안주기 Transimlena di nyomo birik chagoro, dineza yakwa marwa, dineza lamege ketin jizu tenche, yang jirang le tinchimbo, ketin chimbore sambayana, lama le gusheb ramebo gusheb ligores, gusheb lebana lama le teba le yare, lama le transimlige, lama le gyun tabi, gyun daya samlo ligmare, chisan gyun daya samdana gyun jina ala chichi lama ni gyun jina susule nyeba sagoro, gyun jeba ina. 지사 데네기 견답에 삼는 리가 말레기지 리그마레서 지사 데네자 데네 제바나 라마라 대바당 라마라 90여바나 데네기 삼로 야고 여바나 진짜 라미 까나베 냠는 지야 될 냠는 될 양아 주기 배순 지지 냠는 지 두고레스
Further reason why it's important to make effort in training our mind in how we relate to our Lama is that it serves to counter the tremendously negative affliction of pride, in that through recalling someone's good qualities, the great kindness that they've shown to oneself, and the benefit that they can and potentially ever more will bring into one's life, this serves to counteract both pride and competitiveness. If pride and competitiveness rather arise within oneself, they will come to looking at the teacher and saying, actually, he's not much more knowledgeable than myself. He hasn't integrated the Dharma any more than myself. He's really no different from myself. From such an attitude, one is likely to look for fault, find a fault in the teaching, in the explanation, and end up actually looking down on the teacher. And to whatever extent minds such as pride and competitiveness arise within oneself, the teacher will not have a beneficial, will not be able to benefit oneself because of the arisal of pride and competitiveness. One's mind will be closed, and rather than hearing the teachings and internalizing them in sense of looking at how they apply to oneself, rather one will be looking for faults in the presentation or in the meaning of what's being said. And in this way, the words will not have an impact on oneself. It will almost be as if they just bounce off the pride and are unable to enter one's mind.
Lamigi Kusum Tusum Yunde some Delia Debaki Laman Kushep Jega Jebe Jene Cha Sedi that Daning Body Carre Lamna De Jeba ina Digida Di Jebi King and the Carrion Mazu Yamlin Chiadi Yamlin Chiadi Lalan Diad Carre Lalan Dias Lami Ganasha Yudi Lami DJ or Sevacana as a Lalan Diad. She's a Lama Deba, Lama Kushep Yuvana, Lami Gana Yudi Yamlin Chihegi. Deva Shuksheling, Lama le Gushep Shirame, Lama le Deva Mena, Lameka Nango de Langa Jeg, Deva Ligmarwa, Dondaning Body, Anzugi, Lama le Gushep, Lama le Deva Chena, Lama di Yaga Joyadang, Lama le Deba Majebada, Lama le Gushep Majebana, Lama de Gonra Skayoma, Lama le Yarwada, Korong, Anzu. Being as a Michilia, Chiki Yakuminula, no Yakumeva Chai or Mare, Yakudula, and Yaku Chai again, Avaskayomara, Mahanzu Lava in that. Jesa Dine Lamalia, Manzu Diguchi, Kubachevana, Lama Yardroya, Dimachevana, Diduria, Lama Duria, Kavaskayomare. In the Kavar carriers, Lama le Debaja, Lami and Debaja, Lama Lukuship Chevena, Mahanzu Lami loves. Lamdun Jeju, Lamdilla, Lavegi, Yamlin Jelia, Deva Shushimuli Hore. Di Devaledi, Devaleda, Monzu Yamlin Jeda, Carelana, Lami Garsungorasana, 잠바다 제와지스 샹리아 잠제 제고레서 잠제 냠네 제쇼 송고 지상한테 잠제 냠네 제고레 저 류가 26권에 샹리아 뇌베 자와데 마지스 지난디 제바이나 아니 지 소소야 강아 체게 샹리아 강아라시니까 강아 디지교 말에 지난 수림 송고레서 하나 진내 진배 냠네 류가 26권에 샹리아 펜베가 자와 강아 두두 두바이나 아니 샹리아 펜바두나 미샹다게 소소야 야보다게 지기레 지상 소소에네 민이리 펜바 두여 셈베야 내가 야고 집을 정보 지인 셈베기 뽑을리기레 지서 진디네 용구레 지사 디네사 라미 간나죠 가서 냠는 제 조어데다 라말레 디지비 토네 가서 제디 류가 이스니 제팀베 추림소야 류가 이스니 거네 샹레 펜베 자와 주비야 아는 가서 셈바상보 잠바다 자와 고미야 안디나 신다 셈제 탐지도 산요고방 토브르쇼 셈베게 진자주 셈 냠는지야 디네가서 동반이 삼다 동반이 제바지 동반이라고 검자야 땡띵이진 검신이 주야 어디서 가서다 라메기 간나제 당가 라른다에 디수로 와다 지사 라메기 라마의 구송주의 대바지 연대의 구십제도 진제비기 don다 조어딩하죠 디냠는 제기 야고야게 don다라 디레 디는 장한주기 라메기 디네치 삼다 대바제 제 차사 디네게 삼다 위 토네 당하죠 디수야 맞아 강토지도 냠는 제데 don다니 버티리다
In this outline of prostration or homage or salutation to our Lama, we are calling to mind his great qualities of body, speech and mind, the kindness that he's shown us, the benefit that he brings into our life. And we do so in order to generate sincere respect and perhaps even, don't know if admiration is the right word, let's just say respect for our teacher. And this, of course, is an illustration of mind training, of training the mind in seeing the good qualities of our teacher, of ensuring that our afflicted mind doesn't go in the directions of perceiving faults, but rather we train our mind to recognize the good qualities that are there. And the purpose of this, there's a great purpose to doing this training. And that is, in brief, to open ourselves up to his teachings, to open ourselves up to open our mind up so that his teachings can have an impact on our mind. They can enter our heart and enable us, empower us to transform ourselves. So this is the essential meaning of this teaching in how to rely on the teacher, how to cultivate an attitude of respect towards our teacher. To the extent that this is lacking, pride and competitiveness will arise, and one will see faults, real or imagined, and these will dominate one's mind. And the teachings that one hears, should one come, will be criticized, and fault will be found, rather than to receive them in the spirit that they were offered, which is to enable spiritual transformation. On the other hand, to the extent that one does have trust or faith, one has trust or conviction in our teacher, we will open our heart, open our mind to his teachings, we'll feel the impact of the teachings within ourselves. And the purpose of our Lama teaching is to guide students to develop, to transform spiritually. And all good qualities that one hopes to give rise to, whether bodhicitta, the wisdom realizing emptiness, or calm abiding, all good qualities require faith in one's teacher. And again, why so? Because it enables us to be receptive to his teachings. The other way this is often expressed is to receive his blessings. But the meaning, though, is the same. Our heart opens, our mind opens, and the teachings can have, those same words can have a powerful and transformative impact on us. And that then serves to ensure that we continue to receive teachings, we meditate on those teachings, and we strive to develop an ethical outlook, to develop minds of love and compassion, to develop the wisdom understanding reality. And not only that, but we'll want to be a living example of our Lama's teachings, an emissary of his teachings. And this is the indispensable requirement to living a life of great meaning, a life that is in accordance with the Dharma. So therefore, we need to make great effort in cultivating such an attitude. And again, because it's only through having this foundation of reliance on our Lama that we can gain the depth of transformation required so as to actually generate great qualities such as bodhicitta, the wisdom realizing emptiness, and karma abiding. So thank you. On this day of great importance, we'll conclude here. Thank you very much.